is the Nurses Doing GAMSAT podcast, brought to you by Thankfully GAMSAT. We're here to teach you how to smash the GAMSAT, get into medicine, and become a flippin' great doctor. Welcome to our next episode of Nurses Doing GAMSAT. I'm super excited because I'm not here by myself. I have a very, very special guest today. And I would love to introduce you all to Xena. She is an expert in helping adults navigate ADHD, especially in those like high pressure situations like study and career transitions. She's worked with hundreds of students and professionals to help them really unlock their focus, manage overwhelm, and really just enjoy the process, because like we all know that can be a thing, right? So the other thing I love about Xena is she is a very proud cat owner, just like myself. We were just showing each other, well, I just showed her my cat Gracie, which if you've been following along in the show, does feature predominantly.
Love it.
So I'm very, very happy to welcome you, Xena. Welcome on board.
Thank you. I am so happy to be here, and it was an absolute, it's a pleasure to be here, but it was such a pleasure to meet your cat, I have to say. Yes, I am a self-proclaimed crazy cat lady, like obsessed, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I have this like little knit and it has cats on it, and every time I wear it out, everyone's like, oh, the cat knit has come out. And I'm like, look, I love my cat. It's not my cat on the knit, but like...
Oh my gosh, I so need one of those. It reminds me of like a funny Christmas gift I got my partner one year where you can like have t-shirts made and you get your face put on them, right? But I got him some socks and I got my face plastered on his socks. But I was thinking, you could probably do the same thing with your cats. Just saying.
Okay, I'm going to need that website, Tom. If you're watching this, this is what you're getting for Christmas this year.
Yes. Love it.
Oh, I love it. I'm so happy to have you here because I know we're going to talk all things ADHD. And, you know, Tom and I have been doing this a long time. So it's been around 18 years. And I can tell you all the time we're getting questions about how to study better, how to focus better when you have ADHD. And I really mean this from like a diagnosed and an undiagnosed situation, because there's lots of people who kind of feel like that they may have that kind of inclination, like, oh, I think I might be ADHD. But it's so hard to get diagnosed. It's so expensive. It's so long. And to be honest, like my personal opinion is if you think you have ADHD and you just use the techniques that can help you kind of focus, whether or not you have ADHD or not, it doesn't really matter. If it works, it works. Like
100%. I think self-diagnosis is equally as valid, right? And if you think that you probably have ADHD, like you say, like there's a huge waiting list, there's often like a huge cost associated, all of those things, just operate as if you did, right? If you did, what would you do? You'd probably learn a little bit more about it. You learn about working with your brain and how you can, increase your focus, procrastination, all of those things. So, yeah.
So tell me, like, what are the ways that ADHD can kind of show up in adults who might think they have it or might not realize they have it, but particularly around high pressure situations, because when we're in the GAMSAT, like it's like all of the pressure of the world is on your shoulders, and I feel like it exaggerates kind of who you already are inside. So what are some of those things that we can look out for?
So I think the first thing I'd like to say to that is like it's when your intentions don't match your actions. That's classic ADHD. Like you intend to study after work every night this week, and then you get to the end of the week and you're like, oh shit, I haven't studied, right? So when your intentions, what you intend to do, don't match up with what you actually get done, like that is classic ADHD behavior. So other things that you might see in this sort of a situation is not being able to retain information. Right. So whether that be like, you're sitting down to, learn something from a book, or if you're, I often see people who are like in a boardroom situation and they feel so much pressure to remember everything and to comment on everything. And that kind of high pressure situation, they find like everything just goes out the window. They can't remember what they just read, or they can't remember what that person just said, or the question that they were asked. So that's, incredibly common. Another thing I would say about this is like difficulty learning in the traditional sense, right? Like just hearing something or reading something. For us, we often need things like stories or like visual examples of something to be able to really hold on to and hold harness and remember that information. Also things like emotional outbursts, right? If, that kind of ADHD that you're unaware of will often show up in a high pressure situation by somebody going, I just can't do this. I just can't do it, and being quite dramatic and quite, it might look like they shut down and they run off to their car at lunchtime and they're crying, or, just very intense and overwhelming emotions. And that's part of the emotional dysregulation, which I'm sure we'll talk a bit more about. But having difficulty also with the studying, unless you've got that looming pressure deadline.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like we do so good in a high pressure situation, right? Like great in a crisis, you give us a deadline, we'll stay up all night and it's done. But unless you've got that, right? I call it productive procrastination, where you'll do anything but the thing that you need to be doing, right? Like I'll clean the kitchen sink, all the things, right? But you're not doing that thing that needs to be done. Also, another thing that we often see when I talk about people, because I work with a lot of people diagnosed late in life, and I talk about, being in a state of fight or flight or feeling like you're on edge. And they'll often say to me, I felt that way my whole life, waiting for the other shoe to drop, constantly on edge, like living that way. I think that those would be some that I would definitely highlight as things to kind of, look out for.
If I had a checklist of things that I hear from students all the time, that would literally be the checklist.
Yes. Yeah.
I know I need to do this. I just can't get myself to do it. And it's like, or I years ago, so like many years ago, we implemented within our boot camp, which is our paid program, we implemented weekly accountability, because we just found that looming deadline of having someone kick your butt if you don't do the work, it just gets people doing the work. I didn't realize that was more, I thought that was like a human thing, right? Everybody's like that. But maybe that's because of the way I am. So I assume it's like everybody.
But here's the thing with ADHD symptoms, and I'm so glad that you're saying that, is because like ADHD is not new problems, right? Everybody will procrastinate sometimes. Everybody will leave things to the last minute, all of that, right? Everybody will have difficulty with focus. The difference between somebody with ADHD and somebody without ADHD is that for people with ADHD, we take it to the extreme, right? Like if somebody else procrastinates 20% of the time, we do it like 80% of the time, right? There's this saying in our ADHD community, everybody pees, right? Everybody goes to the toilet, everybody pees. But if you peed 50 times a day, you might want to get it checked out.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Gives you a little visual picture of that.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
100%. So you feel like, what I'm hearing you say is that it becomes consuming. It's overwhelming just because of it.
Yeah.
And this is super normal. Like we deal with nurses and healthcare professionals. And look, even if you're not a nurse or an allied health professional, like this is a human thing, right?
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you how many of my nurses and my allied health have come to me with exactly what you've just said. So I'm super glad you're here.
Yeah.
What does that mean? And it kind of leads me to the next question, which is like, what can we do about it? Like what's some simple, practical kind of stuff?
Yeah, such a good question, right? So when it comes to ADHD brains, right, we have less of the chemicals dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin, right? So dopamine is one that most of us know a lot about, but it helps with motivation, right? Motivating us to act, to do something, right? And then norepinephrine, I always say it's a fancy way of saying adrenaline, right? And that's, again, motivating you to act, to do things, right? To pay attention. So when it comes to like helping to overcome the procrastination, it is really beneficial if you can engage in activities that will help you to boost those brain chemicals, that will help you to produce more dopamine, more norepinephrine, more serotonin, right? So for example, exercise is fantastic, right? And it doesn't have to be, I'm not saying go to the gym for like 60 minutes. I'm just saying like walk around the block, get out in nature, get some sunshine, right? Like 10 minutes. That can make a big difference, right?
10 minutes?
Yeah.
Really? That's it?
Yeah. It doesn't have to be long at all, right?
Can we tell my PT this? Can we tell trainer this?
Right? If you've ever done a spin class, like just 10 minutes would be fine. I'm just saying.
10? I can do 10 minutes.
still be
I
alive.
love that because everyone can squeeze that in, even if you're like, after dinner, 10-minute walk, it's good for digestion anyway, and then it's going to help you focus.
Yeah. Or even like using cold water therapy. So, if you live next to, I live next to the ocean, right? Like jump in the ocean, it's freezing. Or you can just have a quick cold shower, like just a 2-minute cold shower, just something like that. Again, it's going to activate those brain chemicals, which are really going to, fire up all of your executive functions, helping you to pay attention, to focus, to actually follow through all of that. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Again, like something that you've talked about before is like the body doubling, right? Like the accountability when you're with other people, you just can't sit there scrolling on your phone, right? God damn it. Like everybody else is working. This is kind of creating that pressure situation, which is fantastic. So yeah, body doubling is fantastic. And it doesn't have to necessarily be with other people doing the same thing. Like I will take myself to a cafe to work and I feel like I'm body doubling with them. I feel the pressure. They're all looking at my screen. I've got to be doing stuff, right? Like I've got to be productive. But it could just be that I've got another client, for example, who is a teacher. And so she will have her mum come over for a cup of tea during the school holidays and just help her plan things out. And her mum's just there just to chat. But the time is spent specifically planning out, the next term, the classes, etc. So again, like having somebody else there is really useful. Removing distractions. I will be distracted by my cats. So that's, I have to shut the door. But so many of us, it's the phone, right? Like it's just so easy just to go to the phone and just, scroll and check some things, look at the emails, look at the notifications, right? And often we are seeking that dopamine, right? Our brains are always seeking dopamine and a bit of pleasure and something that feels good because, doing the task doesn't feel good right now. So yeah, if you can like get one of those lock boxes and lock your phone in it, right? There's all sorts of different tricks that you can get these days, but knowing what your distractions are. So for some people, it's in, if they're in a traditional office setting and they've got a window and some people walking past their window, they're like, oh, what are they doing? Right. So just putting a curtain up, right? So you can't see it, just knowing your distractions and trying to limit those where you can. There's also this ADHD framework, which I love, called NICU. So NICU. If you can make a task novel, interesting, challenging, or urgent, you are much more likely to get your brain on board. Okay. So an example of this for me is I don't love writing. And so I write workbooks, I write emails to send out, all of that sort of thing. And what I will do is I will go for a walk, right? And like for me, I like being out in the fresh air. It's kind of novel. I will dictate everything into my phone, right? And then I will charge up my laptop and I'll go to a cafe. Again, it's a novel, interesting environment, but I've added the urgency by leaving the charger at home. Yeah, right? Getting creative, right? But again, you're creating that your own deadline there to get it all done, right? So yeah, if we can make something novel, add an element of fun or difference or just something unique, right? Interesting, challenge, right? If you have like community challenges or like anything like that, a challenge with a friend, that sort of a thing, and urgent, putting that deadline in there, like that is so useful when it comes to getting our brains on board. So useful.
100%. We do this thing, they're called acceleration classes, and they're live classes, and they're like skills drills, right? So
I love it.
We do them 9 or 10 weeks before the exam. We do them in each section. And I always say, like, you're going to do more when I'm there than when I'm not there.
Yes.
Like, just come live. You can watch the recording. I know that it's recorded. All of our bootcamp members get da-da-da-da. But if you're there, you are going to be switched on. Just the fact that I'm there and I'm watching, or we for example, we once had all these students write for just the intros to their essays, and then our tutor pulled them apart live. Within an hour, everybody's 4 intros were pulled apart.
Yes.
And it's like, you can do that at home by yourself. You can write 4 essays. It ain't going to be the same. There's no, and like part of me also loves a little bit of like seeing what everybody else is doing. Like that's like
that's novel, right? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, how did you come up with that? Oh, for
we
sure.
Call that a Mrs. Mangle. I don't know if you remember Neighbours.
I do.
totally like from the 90s. So anybody that's like a 90s kid here, Mrs. Mega was the one that used to look through the window at what was happening
yes.
outside.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's, when you're a bit nosy, you're being a Mrs. Mangle there.
Yes.
But whatever it takes to get on board, right? Like sometimes if you have different challenges within your brain, you've got to do different things that are going to light you up and switch you on and make you do the work.
Yeah. And when you do have ADHD, right, you've got to remember you've got a brain that's wired differently, right? So therefore, the key, like you just said, is do things differently, right?
Yeah.
It's not about trying harder. It's about trying different, right? Finding what works for you and your brain. Yeah.
There's so many students, not my students, but students that come to me having gone, like, I sat the exam, like, in fact, I spoke to someone yesterday, sat the exam 3 times, and he goes, oh, the first time I sat the exam, but I didn't study at all, so it doesn't count. The second time I studied, but it was just like a couple of weeks before the exam. And then the third time I studied, but like stuff kept on coming up, and so I only ended up studying a couple of weeks before the exam. And I was like, this is a pattern here. It's just that's not once. You've done that many times.
Yes.
So for someone like him, he needs to find the way that he can do it over a long period of time. And I think that NICU works so well because it's not just the urgency. It's also the interesting. It's also the novel. Like you have to mix and match sometimes. That's what I'm hearing.
100%. And I think like what I'm hearing about the program and what you offer, right? Like when people come and work with you is that's what they get, right? They get that element of novelty, of interest, of challenge, and the deadline, right? Like you've got all of that woven in, which I think for somebody like him would be perfect, right? Like I've got this external accountability and, right, you're challenging me with different things, right? And it's kind of novel. Oh, what are you guys doing? Oh, how did you come up with that? Oh, that's impressive, right? Like all of that. Yeah.
Fun, definitely.
One other thing, sorry, if I can just add one other thing when we talk about procrastination is like the emotional element. Right? So one thing I'll often say to people when they are procrastinating a lot is pay attention to your emotions. What are you feeling? Right? Let's say it's study and that's the thing you keep procrastinating. How do you feel about your study? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel dread? Like how do you feel when you think about sitting down to do that? Right? Because it's our emotions driving all of the actions, right? We know when we feel motivated, we get a lot done. Right?
Yes.
But when we don't, right, when we feel dread, for example, what will we do? Avoid it, do anything else but that thing, right? So our emotions are real key here. And for people with ADHD, spending time regulating is really, really important, right? Like taking the time to acknowledge, what you're feeling and then doing something about that, right? Like I'm feeling really anxious. Okay, well, how can I soothe that anxiety so that I can actually sit down and do the study. And one of the ways that, we can do that with emotional dysregulation when we are experiencing, say, anxiety or dread about the study is to slow down. Because often we get quite frantic and we're moving quite fast, quite rapid. Like people with ADHD, we're kind of like, oh, what now? Like, we can be quite hyperactive, not just in our own brains, but, outwardly as well, especially when we become dysregulated. So we start rushing and moving really quickly. So slowing down can be really helpful. And it also allows you to tune in and go, well, hang on, I am feeling anxious. Of course, that's why I'm avoiding it. Does that make sense?
Can I ask a question? It's going back one step. But how do we know what we're feeling? Like, what's that step? And I feel silly asking that, like a 4-year-old woman asking question. That. But real talk, like, how do we do that?
That is such a good question. And I'm so glad you asked it because we didn't have a class in school. I don't know about you, but I had no class in school that taught me about feelings, how to know what you're feeling and when and what to do with it. Right? Like nothing like that. So it's such a good question. So the first step when it comes to emotional regulation is to identify what you're feeling. And we can do that by looking at, what are the sensations that I'm experiencing? Right? Like when I'm anxious, I don't know about you, but for me, when I'm anxious, like my chest starts racing, my palms get sweaty, right? Like my brain kind of feels like it's going a million miles an hour with all these thoughts. And I feel quite like frantic or on edge. Like that's how I know I'm feeling anxious. Right? And when I'm feeling dread, another way that I will often look at my, what I'm feeling is what am I doing or not doing, right? Like when I'm feeling dread, I don't do things, right? So I used to see this a lot when I would set my alarm for 6 a.m. I'd be like, today's the day. I'm going to get up and go for a run, right? And then the alarm would go off at 6 a.m. and I'd be like, we'll reset that for 7. That will be a tomorrow problem, not today, right? Because I felt dread at the idea of getting up every morning. When the alarm went off, I felt dread. So what did I do? I reset it, right? So I guess there's 2 different ways you can look at it, right? You can look for those sensations and what your body experiences that are little clues, right, that tell you what you're feeling. And then you can also look at your actions or your inactions, right? Like if I constantly am avoiding the study, well, there's an emotion there that I don't like. So what could that be? Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
Through some of the work that I've done, I find, and it's I think it's a cultural thing. I don't think it's like an Aussie cultural thing, but it's definitely here.
Yeah.
Is that particularly with women, when we were younger, we're kind of either allowed to be angry or sad. And often the one that you weren't allowed to be when you were younger is the one that gets like masked by the other. So like I was never allowed to cry as a kid. I was never allowed to be upset, but I was angry. And now when I get angry, it's like I have to like wait and go, am I actually angry or am I sad? And I just don't know how to be sad. And so the anger comes out. And so often when I get the anger out, like I just go and like punch the shit out of the pillow, literally, or like scream. I love to go like under the ocean and scream. It's like really cathartic.
It's very therapeutic. Yeah.
So good. But then after that, I'm like, no, I actually just feel sad.
Yeah.
But sitting with that emotion is so challenging because I wasn't allowed to feel that way. So I've got all these mechanisms to not feel that way.
100%. Yeah.
And that's where the challenge comes.
That makes so much sense, right? Like when we're taught it's unsafe, right? Like it's unsafe for you to feel, sad, right? Or, it might be that you're not allowed to be angry, right? Because so much of the messaging we get around emotions is cheer up, you're fine. It's not that big of a deal, right? You're okay. Get on with it. Right? Like those sorts of messages that have, implied that what we're feeling is wrong or bad and we should really stuff it inside. So we have become very disconnected from our emotions, right? And so like actually being able to find them, allow them, acknowledge them, all of that, like that's like a foreign concept. It's like, oh, you're speaking another language to me. What?
Yeah. Particularly if you have that dysregulation and like this whole GAMSAT journey for many people, not for everybody, but it is like a roller coaster. It is up. You're doing practice questions, you're getting them right, and then it's all the way down, and you feel like, oh my God, I've just studied for a month and I know nothing. And there's this like roller coaster.
Yes.
How do we start to manage that, particularly if you have ADHD? Because I think that's a different process.
Yeah. Yeah. I think learning emotional regulation skills is like the most valuable thing that we can learn. It really is, right? Yeah. Because when we know that our emotions drive all of our actions, right? And none of us like to be procrastinating and putting things off. None of us like to be, yelling and reacting at other people because we feel, rejected or we feel, angry or what have you. So once we've got some of the skills and tools around that, I think, as I said, it's like literally life-changing. In terms of what that looks like, I think one of the other things I'll say before I talk about that, though, is when it comes to the ADHD brain, when we are dysregulated, right? You're anxious about the exam or you're really angry with these results that you've got from the pretest, what have you, right? Like when we're in that dysregulated state, what kind of happens in the brain is like, it's like we cut off the power supply to our prefrontal cortex, right? Like we cut off the power supply to the executive functions, right? People with ADHD, we have trouble with executive functions functioning as it is. So that's your planning, your prioritizing, right? Your emotional regulation, all of that sort of a thing. Focus, paying attention. And when that power supply is cut off, it's redirected to the part of our brain, like the primitive part of our brain, which is all about like, I need to stay alive. I'm in danger. I need to stay alive, right? And often I see like somebody's just really overwhelmed because they're staring at a really long to-do list, but they've kind of cut off that power supply because they're so overwhelmed, they feel like they're in danger. Does that make sense before I go further? Yeah, cool. Yeah. So first of all, like understanding what's happening in the brain, I think is really, really important because once we've got that kind of awareness of what's going on, it's like, oh yeah, I can see how, if I am able to acquire some skills to calm myself down, then I am going to be able to navigate the roller coaster, the ups and the downs, a lot more calmly, right? So what we often see with people who are dysregulated, like especially in this kind of an environment, is like we become all over the place, like skipping from one thing to the next, not really finishing anything, right? Dopamine seeking becomes really, really common. So when we don't feel good, like when we're emotionally dysregulated, right, when we're not feeling good, we seek things that feel good or comfort us. So that could be scrolling on the phone, right? Binge watching Netflix. I don't know about you, but like Grey's Anatomy, and I can watch that over and over again. It's very comforting.
Oh God, it's the shows that you know.
Yes, it is, because it's soothing, it's comforting. So it's like, oh, I can just put that on and I'll feel so good, right? Yeah. So like we'll do things like that. We'll sort of seek the dopamine, or kind of, I talk about like numbing out, that kind of a thing. It might be that we snack lots, or we're scrolling, or we're drinking alcohol, whatever it is. Like we do those sorts of things to try and feel better, right? Or numb the pain. So again, like the very first thing that we want to do in that emotional turmoil and that, we're riding the roller coaster, is we've got to identify, we've got to know when we are dysregulated, because we can't do anything about it if we don't know, right? So I always have people spend time getting to know the signals of dysregulation, right? Because your body's like sending you little alarms. Yo, I'm not happy in here, right? What are those alarms, right? Like I talked earlier about like sweaty palms, right? I find that I start rushing. I get all over the place. In my office, I start getting up and kind of like pacing around, right? Or I'll like start one thing and then go over there and do another thing. It's like, oh, hang on a second. What am I feeling? Am I dysregulated? Am I throwing off? Right? So looking for those little signals, right? I'll often have people like make a list of what those are, because if you pay attention to this just for 1 week, you will see so many little signs. Yeah.
You're describing my life. I feel like this is super. Is this like a therapy session for me?
I've been watching you with a camera. Little hidden camera. I've been following you around all the week. Just kidding.
I'm like, oh my goodness. And this sounds silly, but like I'm babysitting a dog, but I have a cat. I talk about that all the time. And the dog is so soothing.
Yes,
like
animals.
The other day I felt, you would use the word dysregulated. I would use the word anxiety.
Yep.
And, oh, excuse me. Sorry, runny nose.
It's all right.
The dog was just so calming. And sat with me and just kind of, and I just pat the dog and I wonder that was definitely a dopamine hit there.
Yeah, but it's also very regulating, because like there's co-regulation, right? Where somebody else helps us to calm down, or we calm down together. Like if somebody else is calm and you're not, right? Like that's a really nice person to be around, and it helps you just like rein it in. But it's the same with animals, right? Like we get that from animals, like cats. When a cat is purring, they've done studies on this. Like, of course, I'm obsessed with this sort of stuff. But the purring of a cat can be so regulating and calming and soothing for your nervous system. Like just literally having a cat on you like a weighted blanket, pat it while it's purring. So good.
That is, you also just made sense of my marriage, because my husband is like the calmest person in the world. He's just like, literally works when he was working in the emergency department, nothing would break a sweat. Just like, okay, well, someone's dying, we better revive him, let's go. Okay, well, he's just been revived, off to the next patient, we'll be fine.
Right.
Whereas I am like the literal opposite. I'm like, bing, 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 bing. And it's like, he needs me for the spice.
Yes.
And I need him for the regulation.
100% for the calm, right?
Yes.
My partner's exactly the same. He's the calm in the storm. I'm the storm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, they need the spicy. Like, it would be boring without us.
Without the ADHDers, life would be so boring, trust me. Yeah.
Agreed. We play an integral role in life. It's just sometimes they need a little help with the emotional regulation. I totally feel that. With the procrastination, with the getting on top of the to-do list. There's just like a lot of things and that's super overwhelming. Like I definitely know.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm not a diagnosed ADHD at all. But everything you're saying, I'm totally resonating with. I'm like,
and that brings me to like step 2 of the regulation, which we're talking about, right? Is engaging in those activities that help you calm down, right? That help you feel safe. right? Because often when we're dysregulated, we don't necessarily feel that safe, right? We feel like things might be kind of out of our control, right? We don't like how we feel. So things that help you calm down, that soothe you, that make you feel safe. So that can be just like spending time with somebody you love, right? It could be things like breathing. Breathing is just like one of the most powerful ways we can communicate to our brain, yo, chill out. You're not in danger. There's nobody chasing you with a knife. It's okay, right? So just I love the physiological sigh. So that's the double inhale with the long exhale. Again, I'm big on the science, but yeah, like you take, a long inhale and then a little bit more air on top and then a big exhale through your mouth and you're creating the sigh, right? And when you do that, right, if you were to imagine that somebody's chasing you with a knife, right, and you're in actual danger, you can't sigh. You can't just go, right? Because you're like in fight or flight, like literal danger. So we recreate that in the brain through this breathing technique, and it just helps to get the brain just to slowly kind of dial back the intensity of the emotion, right? We're not necessarily saying like, you're not going to be anxious ever again, right? I'm saying, hey, if you're a 9 out of 10 anxiety, if we can dial that back to like a 4 or a 5 for you, it's going to be much easier for you to, navigate whatever it is that you need to do next, like sit down and study or reply to the email or what have you.
Oh, 100%. Years ago, I learned about breathing exercises, but like I'm not a very diligent person all the time. Sometimes I like not, and they were like, do these like half an hour, 40-minute things. And I was just like, I can't do that every day. I'm just not, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I ended up looking up just on Spotify. I was like, 5-minute breathing techniques.
Yes. Thank you. 5 minutes is always a win. Yes.
And it has changed my life. I do them, I'm going to say every day, but it's probably 6 days a week, 5 minutes before bed. And now I don't have to listen to it. I have like a particular sequence that I do. And it is so easy. It's like, it's too easy to skip. And I feel so good doing it.
Yes.
That I like.
Keep doing it.
No point skipping it because I feel good.
And I love that you do it just before bed too, because that's such a powerful thing for us, people with the busy brains. Like we often have the brain that won't switch off. Oh my God, you haven't done your study. You haven't done this. Or what about this? Oh my God, why did you say that to them? What do you think they're thinking about this, right? Like this is, and all of this is starting to happen as you lie down to go to sleep, right? So having something like that, like a 5-minute breathing technique or like a 5-minute guided meditation, what have you, like just helping the brain just to kind of switch off a bit and helping you regulate. So powerful.
Oh, it's the breathing for me. Who would have known?
Yeah.
You can hear I've got a cold. Like I am snot-tastic. In fact, real talk, woke up with a tissue stuffed up my nose this morning.
I can relate to that. Yeah, been there.
Very snotty.
Yes.
But because it's snotty, I do like a particular breathing technique through different nostrils.
Yes.
I can't do it. Right now. And I'm definitely feeling it because I'm not doing it. And it's incredible. It's like 5 minutes a day, right? It's so easy to do.
Yeah.
But when I don't do it, the feeling of not doing it's like it gets pent up inside of me and you like release it.
Yeah. That's fascinating. Is it the bilateral stimulation one where you breathe in one nostril, out the other, and then in and then out? Yeah. So any form of bilateral stimulation like that is fantastic when it comes to regulating. Yeah. So that's great. Yeah.
And I always lose count. So I just like tap my fingers together to keep count. I do it 8 times. So in, out, and then that's 1.
Yeah.
And then just do that 8 times. Like it's not rocket science. Anyone can do this at any time. Like
the rocket science is the keeping count.
On legit, that's the hardest part of it.
Yeah.
But I've got this technique now.
Yes, that's so good.
Fingers.
Yes. Right, back to basics. Yes.
It's like, what? Oh my God. And look, if you do more, it's not a bad thing. It's not like...
Oh, yeah. But it's also like, because we often feel like we don't have the time. And I'm talking like when you're driving home from work, right? Or driving to work, whatever, right? Like you can just do some breathing in the car. Right? Like you can do a couple of these, double inhale, long exhale. Like you can do, the breathe in and out the nostril, like just little things like that. Yeah, that don't require a lot of time. I'm a huge fan of those sorts of things, right? And another one,
no extra time. And net. It's a net.
That is, exactly. Yeah. Another one that is so useful for ADHD brains is EFT tapping, so the emotional freedom technique. Are you familiar with that?
I know. I have never mentioned it on the show, but like Yeah, I've taught it before actually. It's super fun.
Yes. Oh,
It
good.
feels woo-woo though.
Oh, it feels
Like it
so weird, right?
feels
Like, yeah.
woo-woo.
When you
I don't
first
care if
do
something's
it,
woo-woo, as long as it
oh,
works.
that's just it, right? Like, I remember the first time I did it. Are we allowed to swear? Because it's a
You
little bit.
can swear your
Okay.
head off.
Okay, good. I'm a swearer. So the first time I did it, I remember going, "What the actual fuck is this? Like, you want me to tap where?" I was like, "I can't be in public doing this. No way." So anyway, you're tapping on various meridian points around the body for anyone who doesn't know in a sequence. And you're just talking about like what you're feeling, what's happening for you, what you're thinking, all of that. Like you're just kind of putting words to your emotional experience. But because for people with ADHD, we often like to be doing something, right? Like this gives us like a physical way to actually move the emotion out through our body and calm our nervous system down. The studies on this are unreal. Like I love me some science. And I find that one is huge. Like, and I just do like 5 minutes every now and again. Like I'll do it walking now. I've got to the point where I don't care what anyone thinks because I'm like, this works so good. You're missing out. Right.
Yeah.
And I'll always say to someone, look, it's a bit weird, bit woo woo. I said, but if you give it a go and you don't like it, don't ever use it again. No worries. But if you give it a go and you like it, let's keep playing with it. Right. And I haven't had anyone yet be like, that's terrible. It didn't work. Right. Like there's always this really powerful experience, which I love.
It is so good. If anyone wants to know how to do it, just Google search EFT tapping.
Yeah.
And you're just like tapping random like places on your face and
Yep.
your collarbone. Like it's nothing. You look a little weird, but really if it works, it works. Who cares?
Yeah. And trust me, the science backs it up. Like honestly, just give it a go. Yeah. I always say to somebody, just give it a go before you make a judgment call because it's really, really powerful. Yeah.
I do some live classes. So 19 weeks before each exam, we do a mindset class and we do like a little guided meditation with our students once a week. I just find that when someone's doing it, like if I'm like, okay, we're going to meditate right now, then most people just go, okay, I'll do it with you. But then if you have to do it at home by yourself, then it's a little bit more challenging. So we just do it as part of our program now where we all meet up, we all do it together and it means it's done.
Yes.
And literally like a collective sigh from the whole group afterwards. Like, oh, that feels so good.
Yeah.
But I might add in this round for September now, a whole round of EFT because I think that's a great idea.
And I would love to hear how it goes. Yes.
Yeah, because I think, you know, there's visualization, which is very important because we need to be able to see ourselves winning, right? That the brain has the reticular activating system. We see ourselves. But moving through the emotion and the dysregulation, like that's life-changing.
And to have those skills, I think, as well for like exam day, where you can like help to calm your nervous system down because it is a stressful day, right? Like the likelihood of you going in there feeling like, amazing, I'm going to nail it. I mean, there's going to be some of you, fantastic. But, you know, most of us are going to go in there going, oh, shit. Oh, you know, like we're going to be anxious. We're going to be nervous. We're going to be on edge, all of that. And having some of these tools, especially when you get a curly question and you're like, oh, God, I don't think I ever studied for that or saw that. Like, you know, like having some of these tools to help you calm and soothe, right? Dial back the intensity just helps you to be able to keep going and, and work through all of the challenges that your brain might come up with. Yeah,
for sure. The thing that I say all the time is that we need to expect the unexpected. I can almost guarantee in this exam there will be, because it's not a content exam. I'm not sure if you know, Xena. It's a skill-based exam. So it's not reading a book and then we test you on the book. It's read the book, chuck that out the window, we're going to test you on something else. It's like that's basically the way it works. And so because of the nature of that, because it's skill-based, you can't know the actual topic areas that are going to come up.
Yeah.
And so I can guarantee, it doesn't matter how long you study for, what you do, there will be a question that stumps you. It's the way the cookie crumbles happens every single year to every single person. But if you have a way of not getting triggered by that one, so that you can concentrate on the ones that you do know how to do, because, and one of my tutors, like 10 years, said this to me. 10 years ago. He was incredible. He got like in the 80s, which is like very, very good. And, but he didn't finish the exam. And I was like, Tom, it's another Tom, not my husband Tom, but a different one. And I said, how did you get in the 80s if you didn't finish? He goes, oh, it's really simple. you don't lose a mark by not answering a question or by getting it wrong. You can only gain a mark. So I just did as many questions as I could, and I made sure every single one that I touched I got right.
That
And I
is
didn't
so
finish. I
good.
guessed the last 8 or 10 or however much it
Yeah,
was, but
yeah,
it didn't matter because every single one that I touched
yeah.
was right. And I was
Yes.
like, freaking brilliant. You don't lose a mark
Yeah.
by getting it wrong. So don't worry about it. Like,
I love that advice. That's brilliant advice. Yeah. It's not about getting to the end.
no,
No. Yeah.
it's about
Also,
getting as many right. Yeah.
yeah. One of the other things I love that you said is expect the unexpected, right? Like I'll always say to people when they're doing something outside of their comfort zone, something scary or hard, I'm like, expect to feel nervous, expect to be anxious, expect, for example, like, somebody who's going to speak in public and they're terrified of doing that, right? And they've signed up and they're going to do it, what have you. And you're not going to wake up on the day and feel, oh, I'm so happy I'm going to speak in public. No, like you're going to wake up being like dread, like, how can I get out of this? Why did I sign up for this, right? Like, and that's okay because your brain's doing its job trying to protect you, right? But if you expect it and you can make room for it, right? It doesn't mean anything's gone wrong. Of course, hi, here's Dread. Hello, expected you. Welcome, right? Like, yeah, I just want to highlight that because I love that you said that.
It's perfect. Tom and I used to do these tours around universities, and we live on the Sunshine Coast now. And I remember we're going down to UQ for the day for me to do a lecture, and there was like 200 people there. It was a lot of people there, whatever, however many there were. And I started and I was like, we started driving. It's just over an hour to get to the uni. And I was just like, I feel a bit, I don't know, not myself. I don't really get that nervous public speaking, but I felt a bit anxious or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And Tom was like, I'm going to put some Celine Dion on, some Mariah Carey in the car. Within 5 minutes, I'm singing my brains out. My poor husband is like a cat's being murdered when I sing, but he tolerates it.
But he knew it was needed. Yeah.
He knew we had to get the big guns out. Mariah Carey was playing, and I felt so good by the time I got there. And it was like my energy was infectious. But if I hadn't taken the steps and look, what was going to happen on the day was going to happen on the day. I was going to do a lecture. There's going to be lots of people there. But my energy and my attitude coming into it, because this is his version of emotionally regulating me without me probably even knowing.
It's exactly what was happening, right? Like he was helping you to regulate, but also like helping you. And this is something I would say for like the actual, the actual day of the exam, right? Like the day it's happening, right? Is increase your dopamine, your norepinephrine, get all of those good feeling chemicals, right? Do something like that, whether it's like singing or dancing is a really good one, right? Like go for a run that morning, or, your favorite form of workout, cold shower, like do all of those sorts of things and stack it up so that you're really like setting yourself up for success.
Oh, I have a cold shower like technique, right? Because I don't like the cold.
Oh, me neither.
Don't like it at all. Not my, some people are like, I love it, I hate the summer. No. Give me like 30 degrees every day, I'm happy. Yes. And I did this challenge where you had to have a 5-minute cold shower every day. And I was stupid. I did it in July in the middle of winter. That was totally my error. Okay. Do not recommend that, but I did it anyway. And so what I did was it's 1.5 times of the Cardi B song Up that would play to hit the 5-minute mark. So I pumped Cardi B. I'll be rapping my brains out. Now, no one wants to see this white girl rap. I'm telling you, it is not particularly in the shower.
I love this.
But like the adrenaline. Right? I get out. I'm like, I can do anything.
You're on fire. Yes. That's just it. And like play a song like that. That's such a good way to do it. Like play a song that like pumps you up. Yes,
I might sing Celine Dion, but I can also rap a gangster song. Okay,
multi-talented. I love it. I love it.
I reckon Beyonce would be good too. I reckon you could do a bit of like get in formation kind of.
Yeah, one of my ones is Katy Perry's Raw. Like I will like have a little office dance party before I've got to like give a class or do a coaching call or something. Like I'll have this little dance party, like dancing around singing to that.
Yeah. For it. My daughter, my 7-year-old sings that one, which is great.
Yes. Love it.
So you touched on like exam day. Are there any other kind of little tidbits you could share with us on what to do on exam day?
On exam day, yeah. So I think like a couple of things we've already touched on, like having some regulation tools in your back pocket, right? For when you do, feel nervous or anxious, expect, some of those feelings to arise. I would also say self-compassion, right? Like don't treat yourself like an asshole. That's kind of it.
What? I never do that. That never happens. I don't have self-talk trash. That doesn't happen at all.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I so agree.
Like,
I so agree.
Yeah. Like I always say, like, I'm huge on having your own back. What would you say to somebody you love and care about in this exact situation? Like you wouldn't say you'll be fine. Just buck up, get on with it. You're fine. Right. Like, no, right. Like you'd be really kind and supportive and loving. Like, hey, like you've studied really hard. Like I really believe in you, regardless of the outcome. I'm so proud of you for doing this. Like, yeah, no matter what happens, like I've got you. I'm here for you. Right. Like that's the kind of thing you'd say to somebody you love and care about. So that's what self-compassion looks like.
Oh, that's life-changing. Life-changing.
Yeah.
What I love about this exam is that I hate the exam. Don't get me wrong. There's not much I love about it. Good real talk here. Yeah. No one loves the exam. But what I do love about it is that it teaches you all of these skills that actually make you an incredible doctor. Like, and I'm not talking about the physics and the poetry and the organic chemistry, because everybody that's a doctor is smart. There is no one there that is dumb.
Yeah.
But the self-compassion, you can't have compassion for others if you don't have compassion for yourself.
Yeah.
Or the resilience, the emotional regulation. Like when you're a doctor, the emotions don't get easier.
Yeah.
It's not like all of a sudden you
high pressure situations, right? Like, yeah.
You're literally like life or death. Like,
yes,
hard.
Literally. Yeah.
But this exam and the process of going through that can make you into an incredible doctor because you're going to learn it.
100% agree with you. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Let me add one more thing for like the actual, the day of the big day, let's call it. I always love to say to my people, like, use empowering questions. Like, focus on asking yourself empowering questions, right? Like, so often in our brains, we've got that negativity bias and we lean towards like, what if I stuff up? What if I freeze? What if what if it all, is a total disaster? And I'll say things like, well, how can I set myself up for success? What if it all works out? Right? Or turn your what if into an even if, right? Even if I mess up on a question, what am I going to do to take care of myself? What am I going to do? I'm going to move on to the next one. Right? Yeah. So again, just leaning towards a couple of just empowering questions. And I like to pre-plan them. Like when I know my brain is likely to be an asshole, like because I'm doing something scary, I got this weird thing about having to leave my comfort zone. I seem to do it all the time. But I like to have those questions like pre-prepared, right? A couple of go-tos that are, just pull out of your back pocket. Yeah. So what if it all works out? That's a great one. How can I set myself up for success? Either way.
Can I walk away from this feeling good about myself?
Yes. I love that.
Tony Robbins says the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions.
Yes.
I think I heard that 10 years ago and it stuck with me.
Ask better questions, you get better answers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%. Yeah.
Today has been such a pleasure. I don't want it to stop.
It's been so fun.
I've had so much fun. Thank you for indulging me in listening to my cat stories. And
anytime. When it's cat stories, you got me.
Yes. And I would love for anyone that's listening to learn a little bit more about kind of where to find you. Have you got socials? Tell us what to do.
Yeah, all the things. So our website, navigatingadultadhd.com. It's also the name of the podcast, Navigating Adult ADHD. So we've got a weekly podcast. And also on Instagram, Facebook, all the places, just Navigating Adult ADHD. So yeah, come and check us out.
Oh, I love it. I'm following along and like you'll post something and I'll be like, that's 100% me.
I'm a meme queen. Like, watch out. Like, memes are my love language. So I'm like posting memes, or I love to post like, funny behind the scenes things, like real ADHD moments. Like one time I tripped coming up the stairs holding 2 drinks and I wore my coffee and I was wearing white and I was like just about to get on a call and I was like little things like that I have to share.
This is my life. Once I was at a ball and we're wearing these like beautiful ball gowns. And I'm at the top of the stairs, with my ball gown, and I tripped. I fell all the way down the stairs, and I was like, oh my God. And my friends were like, don't worry, no one saw it. Legitimately 2 hours later, I was in the toilet in the store, and a group of girls come in doing their makeup. They go, oh my God, did you see that girl fall down the stairs? And I was trapped in the toilet. I was like, I can't
leave because they'll see me.
Everybody's talking about it.
Yes, that's the kind of stuff I share because I love that stuff. Yes.
Fun times. I've just relived that moment. Relatable. Oh my God.
Yes. Oh yes. That one's relatable.
I'm going to need to emotionally regulate now.
Go give that cat a cuddle.
This is so fun. Anyone that is listening, watching, Navigating Adult ADHD.com.
Yes.
We're excited. We're going to follow you. And we will be up next with lots of more exciting GAMSAT news. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah.
Bye
thanks,
for now.
everyone.
Hey, I have a cool gift for you just for listening to the Nurses Doing GAMSAT podcast. We do some of our best work in our Facebook group called, you guessed it, Nurses Doing GAMSAT. It's free to join, and every day we're sharing actionable guides, tips and tricks, and really just how to smash the exam and get into medicine. You can join today by searching Nurses Doing GAMSAT on Facebook. Thanks for listening to another episode, and I'll see you next time.